Hey there, everybody. It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of All the Queen's Men, Season 3, Episode 13. I got 5 on it, and I don't even know what that title means. I'll be honest, I'm trying to go back through the episode, and I'm like, I got 5 on it. If somebody knows what that's all about, put it down in the comment section, please. So, the synopsis for this episode says Trouble and Champ try to talk their way out of a tight situation. More like they snitch. Madam endorses an unexpected candidate for mayor, which just might win. And Amp and Big D fight for Dime's affection. They act like it was a blowout throwdown, and it wasn't nothing like that. So anyway, let's get this started. But first, please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, select all, then hit that thumbs up button, which is the like button. Write a comment, join the conversation, and share because sharing is caring. So this episode starts off with Madam and Detective Davis is in her office, and they're chit-chatting about concierge. And Detective Davis is letting her know that they had him in Mexico, but now he's in the Cayman Islands. And as soon as she finds out his flight information, she'll let Madam know. So Madam gives her a stack of bills, and Detective Davis is all grateful and everything. Matter of fact, Madam gave her 3 stacks of bills. Let's put it that way. And so Detective Davis said thank you, and Madam was like you're dismissed. But she rolled her eyes up in her head when she did that. Anyhow, then Blue and Tommy came in. Madam tells Tommy to walk Detective Davis out, and Blue lets her know that Champ and Trouble got arrested by the police. She said, please tell me it didn't happen while they were on the floor. She said they were on the floor. She said, this biatch is getting on my nerves. So she must be talking about the DA Rods or whatever her name is. So Madam goes out there and makes a nice speech to all the ladies and apologizes for the scene that went on and everything. And she said, it was a mistake, and if I have anything to do with it, your favorite dancers will be back up on the stage tomorrow night. So she said thank you. She gave Dime the mic. She got back up on the stage, did her part that she does, and the show went on. Now we got a scene with Champ and Trouble sitting in jail, talking to each other, pissed about it. We didn't even do it. It wasn't even us. They trying to pin a murder on us. You think Ray Sean dropped Dime on us? She said, please. He probably all the way in Alabama crying about the whole thing. Champ always quick to say Ray Sean is dropping Dime on him. Here they were the ones forcing Ray Sean to go back and get that money when he didn't even want it. Put him in that situation, and now they sat here and sang like a damn canary, dropping Dime on him to the white police officer, saying it wasn't Russ, it was Ray Sean, and Trouble acting like she's stopping him from saying something, but she said, but he was the one, we left him alone and we was there and da da da. I mean, they was telling everything, spilling the tea like it was liquid courage or something. I don't know. So he said, you willing to write it down on a statement? No, we ain't writing down nothing. But Champ was quick to say he was going to write it down. And Champ was the first one that gave up Ray Sean's name. And Trouble was like, no, like we ain't going to do that and stuff. So then they asked for, do they get a phone call? And they said, yeah, y'all each get one. Then he said, y'all wouldn't happen to know anything about a robbery that night, which I since you were there. And they were like, nah, I don't know anything. And so Trouble goes, well, what was taken? He said, well, nothing now because it was all returned. She said, well, then it doesn't sound like a robbery to me. But see, they realizing if they didn't give that stuff back, they'd be sitting in that cell for that damn robbery because they were greedy. They the ones who caused all of this. If they didn't leave Ray Sean alone with that man and that man pulled the gun on him and Ray Sean snapped, none of this would have happened. They forced him to go there and Ray Sean didn't even want to do it. So them two get their phone call. They go out because Trouble had a friend who owed a favor, and they outside in front of the precinct already talking about doing something else to make some quick money. I said, look at these dumb fools being illegal. And then she was like, I'll meet you at your house later. I'm going home and stuff. So she ended up going home, and he went his own way. That's Champ. And she later on came to his house, and they started talking about some drug deal and not robbing some drug dealer. She said, that's penny money. I don't want to keep having to do it like it's a 9 to 5. And they talking about robbing a stash house with the drugs in it, talking about, yeah, they be having a lot of money. These two ain't worth 2 cents the way they are. So that's what they discussed. And then later on that night, they met back up at the club and discussed it some more. So now back over at Eden, the guys are tipping out. You know, Big D just don't learn. He just busy trying to hit on Dime. And Dime is like, I have nothing to say to you. And he's like still trying to play it. And Blue said, look, she don't want to be bothered. Step. And made him walk. Then here comes Amp. He's handed Dime the money. And he's holding on to it while she tried to take it. And he's like, damn, Dime, you ain't even gonna look at me? And she looked up at him. And then he let it go and walked away. And here come Doc is like, damn, Amp, you a cold piece of something, ain't you? And she's like, thank you, you know. And then Babyface come up there. His pile is light. And she's like, why it's so light? You know, and he was like, well, you know, because of Miss Tandy, there was a delicate situation up there and he didn't press her for her money. And Midnight's like, just because you getting that pooty twang at home don't mean you come here and give her discounts. Faith said, it's not like that. Her husband just died. And Blue was like, that igga that's running for mayor? He said, yeah. She said, what kind of cold-hearted biatch comes up in the club, strip club, after her husband just died? And Midnight said the same type of biatch who will move her igga in while her husband's in the hospital fighting for his life. So Madam comes over and asks what's going on, and they're telling her that Face is light because Miss Tandy's husband died. And Madam's like, damn, that's messing up my plans, you know? And she told Face, when you go to VIP, you come out, you better have my effing money. You hear me? He said, okay, Madam, I'm going to get you your money. And she's like, yo, whatever. And she told Blue to tell Miss Tandy that she want to see her in the office tomorrow. And Blue's like, bet. So Diamond's like, Fuego, you kind of quiet. He said, because I ain't got nothing to say. And everybody looks at him. And Madam say, Fuego, I want to see you in my office now. And she walks away. And Knight's like, I bet you got something to say now. But I tell y'all, Fuego surprised me when he got up in that office. Because Madam was sitting on her desk. And she was all in his face, like her feet up on the two chairs. I think her foot was on one of the chairs he was sitting in. And Tommy was standing behind him, and Fuego turned around looking like what's about to go on and happen here, you know? And Madam's like, you know, I got cameras all around this place because you helped me put them up. She said, so, and why was you in the basement letting Big D go? She said, but what I really want to know is, how the hell did you know he was there? And so he tells her that, you know, I told you before, these people are trying to hack my computer, and they added some stuff to it, and there was a feed to the basement. And so I saw what was going on. And she said, well, why didn't you tell me this? And he said, look, Madam, everybody's asking me for stuff and doing stuff. He said, I didn't know who it was. I didn't know if it was you showing it me or what. And she said, if it was me, you would have known it was me. But I got mad at Fuego because he didn't say, I tried to come and tell you. I wanted to come and tell you, and Blue stopped me. But he kept his mouth shut. And she's like, you sat on some effing information that could blow up my whole operation. And he's like, sorry, Madam. So for now on, you tell me. Yes, Madam. And she told him, I'm not asking you to do anything illegal. I just want you to stay loyal and not talk to the effing cops. And he's like, he don't know if he could do that. She said, what? Stay loyal? I was like, oh God, he gonna get beat up right now. And he was like, I could do that. He said about talking to the cops. She was like, well, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing that's going on. So he's like, well, what if I do know something? What if they ask me something I do know? She said, then you keep your effing mouth shut. And he was like, yes, Madam. And then when he left, Tommy was like, Madam, I don't think the church boy is made for this. She said, well, he better act like he is. He said, and what if he doesn't? She said, then he gonna meet Jesus sooner than he thought. I said, oh, snap. They gonna kill him. They gonna kill him. So now it's the next day. Miss Tandy comes into Madam's office. She gives condolences to Madam's father passing, and Madam gives her condolences to her husband passing. And then she basically lets her know she wants her to run for her husband's seat. And she's like, I don't know nothing about politics. She said half the damn people in Congress don't know anything about it either, you know? So she was like, so Tandy thinks it's a long shot. Madam's telling her to play on the Widow Act and promise to do all the things that Jack said he was going to do, yada, yada, yada. And Miss Tandy said, okay, fine. So she got up and said, can we at least shake on it? And Madam said, no, I'm not touching you. Goodbye. And shoot her off. I said, oh, snap. Now we have D.A. Rods talking to Casanova and letting him know that she called her Lily Watson. So it must be Lily, Tandy, Watson. Okay, Miss Tandy, that must be her maiden name. And he's letting her know that she's running for her husband's seat. And he's like, that's kind of bold. And she's like, yeah, she's known Lily for a long time. And this would be good for her because now she could be running the whole, city by telling Tandy what to do. And what's so funny is Madam is saying the same thing. And D.A. Rods is saying she's going to get back at everybody who was against her. And the first person she's going to start with is Madam. And it's funny because Madam is saying when Tandy get in the office, the first person she going to get rid of is D.A. Rods. And I was just like laughing at both of them. And so Casanova want to know what's in it for him. And she told him that her job would be secure, then his job would be secure. And he's like, if Madam's going to be the first person you take down, I want to be down with that. He said, because this will be the biggest bust of my career and I can stop having to work undercover and be a lead detective. And she was like, then you better get in there and start going through the files and seeing if there's anything in those files that could jeopardize this election. Meaning if there's anything on Jack or Tandy to Watson, then to get it thrown out, hidden, shredded, whatever. Make it look like it never ever happened. So basically they're being dirty cops and doing something illegal, even though they call themselves taking down somebody like Madam who's doing something dirty or illegal. Hello. But the funny thing is, Casanova is asking D.A. Rod, you sure you could trust Miss Tandy? And then Tommy is asking Madam, are you sure you could trust Miss Tandy? And I'm laughing because they all are saying, yeah, without a doubt, because they all got dirt on her. So now Miss Tandy gets home and she faces playing video games and she's telling him the good news about the endorsement by Madam to run for the mayor. And Face ain't even looking at her. He's still playing video games like a big ass kid and stuff. And I think she's getting a little annoyed, but at some point he finally puts the game down when he realized this means more money. He starts talking about, I always wanted a white Aston Martin. And she says, so did I, Igga. And he's like, she said, but I can't be buying no cars for people after my husband just died. I have to play the whole role of the grieving widow and stuff. And I can't be buying a car for a random dude. And he's like, I get it. And she told him he gonna have to lay low. He said, well, that's gonna cost you more money if I gotta lay low. Negro, you ain't even got nowhere to go. That's why you at her house. You can't go home. You have to lay low. And you trying to get money out of her to lay low? That makes no sense. And I don't understand this woman. You crazy about some man who's using you. And he's like, oh, he trying to get a car. Everything is money. She said, everything is money with you. She said, I'm going to have to give you a bigger allowance. He said, I'm worth it and all this stuff. I was like, I was sick of him already. I really don't like Face. Anywho. So now we have Dime coming out of her apartment and Big D is there. He is harassing her at this point. It's like, Negro, she says she don't want to be bothered with no murderer or killer. He's like, that's not me. You can even ask Madam. Casanova's alive. She said, I don't know what that's all about and I don't care. I just don't want to get involved in the mess. He said, I don't want to get involved in it either. She was like, look, leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. And she walked away. And I'm like, Big D is being a real jerk. So now we have Madam and Blue in a car and Detective Davis calls her with some information that Madam already knew. And Madam's like, please, girl, I already know that. Tell me something I don't know. And she tells her that Concierge is on the move and that he'll be in Atlanta in 2 days. She said, thank you. That's the type of information I can use. So she hangs up and tells Blue, okay, let's be prepared. And she said, I got you, Madam. So Madam and Blue show up at Miss Tandy's house and we find out that Tommy went to film school. So he knows what he's doing. He's shooting this video and stuff. Blue's like amazed, like what doesn't he know how to do? And so she's doing a video to say that she's going to run for her husband's office and as mayor of Atlanta, and she's recording something and she's like, what should I do? Should I cry? And Tommy said, oh, if you need to cry, I know how to do it. And Madam's like, oh, hell no, ain't nobody crying. She said, you have to see strong. You be sympathetic, but you have to show that you're strong and can handle the position and stuff. And she's like, okay, Madam. And then they start filming that. And then it switches over to El Fuego's apartment. And somebody's sending him an incoming message and they're going back and forth telling him that they want him to give them some dirt on Madam and get into her cameras. And he was like, I don't know nothing. And so they show him a film of him shooting his ex-fiance, that girl that the parents have been looking for. And he's like, that didn't even happen. They doctored it some way to make it look like he shot this female. And he is like torn up right now because they're saying it doesn't matter. If he doesn't help them, they're sending it to the police. And I'm gotta be honest with y'all, I feel really bad for Fuego. He was the only decent one out of them all, and he is getting so screwed and played over, and it's not fair. And if I was him, the first thing I would be doing is running to Eden to let Madam know so she can help me in any way possible. So now here we are back at Eden, and Big D still bothering Dime again. He's up at the DJ booth bothering her, and I could see that Amp was coming through the crowd to get to her, but when he saw Big D there, he didn't go there. So Amp ended up going into the VIP dressing room with the other guys, and they see El Fuego sitting there looking sad, and they're like, what's up? And he tells them that somebody hacked up into his computer. And they're like, word? And he's like, yeah. And they put a video up of him doing something that he did not do. And they said they're going to take it to the police. And he said, why would they do that? They said they want me to give them everything I can on Madam. And they was like, don't do it. You know, Doc and Midnight was like, don't do it. I don't care what. And so Amp told him, remember what I told you at my house? When you have an issue like this, go talk to Madam. Talk to her. And he was like, okay. And now we see Babyface coming in the room saying, look who I saw trying to get in the VIP. And it was Big D. And he said, they was like, didn't you get demoted? He said, technically, yeah, but I was just coming clean out my locker. He said, I ain't coming to start no mess. He said, but someday I'm going to be up in here back again or something like that. And so Amp is like, can I talk to you? And Amp apologizes to him for being a real a-hole towards him and stuff, and Big D accepted his apology. So they shook hands, and Amp said he didn't want no beef. But then he asked Big D to step back from messing with Dime because he's trying to get her back. And Big D said, respectfully, I can't do that. He said, what you mean you can't do that? He said, Dime is a grown-ass woman, and she can make up her own mind. And he said, actually, I feel she's feeling me more than she's feeling you right now. I said, Dime has been telling you to leave her alone all this time, and you are harassing her. And this is what you say? And Big D says, it's up to her. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be neither one of us. He said, but we could be friends. And popped him in the face. Pow! Like that, knocked them to the floor. They like, yo, Midnight and Doc was like, what the F you doing, Amp? Get a hold of your damn self. And Big D was like, it's all good. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. And Doc was all in Amp's ass about that one. So now we have Dime up on stage introducing the men of Eden. And Amp is messing up his steps. And when he get off the stage, Blue lets him know about it and tells him Madam wouldn't like that mess. So he need to get his head in the game, okay? And she's like, don't let one failed relationship. And he's like, wait a minute, this ain't no failed relationship. I'm going to get her back. She's not, that's not how I see it, she said, but it don't matter. She said, if Madam saw this, it would be hell to pay. So she said, this is a warning. Don't let it happen again. So Amp starts to walk towards the dressing room, and she said, get your ass up on the stage. There ain't no money being made in the locker room. I said, uh-oh. So now we go to a quick scene of Madam in her office, and she's listening to the news, and they're saying how Miss Tandy's numbers are doing well for somebody who's entering into the race so late in the game. So she's like, don't mess this up, Miss Tandy. And she closes the laptop, and she gets a text from somebody that says, meet me. And Madam throws the phone down on the desk and says, F you. And then the person writes back, you know this kind of thing turns you on. And then Madam texts, where? Then it switches over to all the dancers waiting on Dime so they could tip out. As soon as she get there, Amp's the first one to jump up and say, Dime, here, can I talk to you? And she's like, no. He said, you want me to wait for you? She said, no, I'll be okay. She said, look, I'll stop by later on after I close out. And he's like, you promise? She said, yes, Amp, bye. And then something happened with Champ and Trouble. Their money is low or something like that. And she started talking about how she belonged in VIP. She got many years in the game and all of this stuff. And, you know, the VIP guys are picking on her and stuff. And she want to fight with Face. And, you know, I was like, Trouble, really? And, you know, Champ told her, F these motherfuckers. Don't let them mess with you and get in your head and stuff. And he was right. And she said, y'all ain't gonna be saying that shit when I pull up in my Rolls Royce. And they kind of just chuckled at her, and everybody tipped out. And next thing you know, you see El Fuego leaving by himself. I knew this was going to happen. He leaving by himself. Where's all the other guys? And a black van pull up and two guys start whooping on him. And the next thing you know, Midnight came around the corner and started helping him fight and beating their behinds. And the two guys jumped in the black van and drove off. And Midnight said, what was that all about? He said, I told you, they're trying to get me to turn on Madam. He said, well, they don't seem to be letting up. And Fuego said, I'm sick of this ish. I'm sick of it. It needs to end. And Midnight said, well, whatever you do, don't turn on Madam. And Fuego was like, I'm not. I don't even know enough to turn on her anyway. So Midnight's looking at Fuego bent over and hurting. And he said, you going to be all right? He said, yeah, I just want to go home and get some rest. So Midnight turns to walk away. And Fuego starts walking to his car and hits the thing. Boop, boop. And his car blows the freak up. Oh, my God. And they both fall to the ground. Fuego's little Lexus got burnt the F up. I'm telling you, it's on fire. Do-do-do, do-do-do. Anyway, that's how this episode ended. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode. And please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.